let's take a look at another example for the ultimate Muathe breakout. In fact, on this chart we have two for the price of one. This is a monthly chart, and the green arrows are our buy points. So this was a buy point here in early 2000. Remember, I've been in this business for a long time, so this is something I've done for a long time. And then the other buy point we had for subscribers was this breakout here in 2005. Okay, so why this breakout in 2000? Why this breakout in 2005? Why? Because this breakout, and in fact you can see the stock here would move from about 15 all the way to $95 or $100. $15 to $100. When was the last time you owned a stock like that? That's what's up. Anyway, take a look at the RSI in 2000. Notice the RSI making a 3-year monthly high breakout right there. Stock is a buy. Bam. Okay. Take a look at the breakout in 05. 3-year high there on the RSI. Bam. Plus a move above 50. Bam. See what I'm saying? Principles, I'm just repeating myself. Different charts. I could use the same monologue for all these charts. But it's good that I refresh myself on how powerful these things are. It's good for you to learn them too. So surprisingly, you might think that this is boring to me, but it's actually a good reminder that the principles work, and it's a good reminder for me too to keep looking for these kinds of things, which is what I do all day, but it's a good reminder. Okay, so notice that the RSI in 2000, that time frame was breaking out there. Notice that breakout there to 3-year highs on the MACD, at least. Now in this particular example, only this MACD setting was giving us a 3-year high. Like I said, you need one of them to give you a 3-year high, and this one was doing exactly that. We'll come to 2005. Notice that we were making a multi-year move, breakout move, and this breakout move was the first actual move back above 50 since this big sell-off here on the MACDs and in price. And also the other MACD was already making a 3-year high. So the MACD setting was already a 3-year high, the main MACD setting. So our minimum requirements were met in 05, they were met in 2000, and in 2000 they moved that was good enough to move this stock from about under $15, $13 all the way to $100. So we come to 05. There was a powerful breakout here in 05. That's why there was an alert for subscribers at that point. Let's go back and take a look at what happened down the road. So after that 2005 breakout, take a look at this move. The stock would go on to gain about 300% in 1 year. Okay, very nice move there. And again, you see the MACDs did not disappoint, the RSI did not disappoint. RSI breakout there and a move above 50. MACDs making 3-year highs there, and also the other MACD time frame was also at 3-year highs. Very simple, yet absolutely powerful. Let's take a look at the next one here. The next example is NWD. So low price stock. Notice that it was breaking out to multi-year highs here. So always find stocks that are doing something they haven't done. The stock was in this period here, had stayed in this general area for many years, and then suddenly something was moving the stock out of that range. You want to buy it when it's moving out of that range. Something has changed. A team that was losing is suddenly starting to win games. And this is what we are looking for. Something that was doing nothing, that suddenly something internal, something we cannot understand, the energy of the stock is changing. There's a catalyst. The fundamentals are ripe. The industry is ripe. Whatever. But something is changing. So instead of owning the stock during all this do nothing period, wait for the stock to break out to new highs. That's the principle of buying quality stocks and quality breakout. So price breaking out 2005 June. Take a look at that RSI, and this is again a monthly chart. Take a look at that. breakout right there, 3-year high, moving above 50. Now moving above 50 is not a requirement, but moving above 50, if you know my work, means just another added thrust. The key here is the breakout to 3-year highs, and in this particular instance it's a breakout to all-time highs on the monthly RSI. All-time highs, monthly breakout. Stock trading at about, what was the price here? The price for the stock was about under $1, just $1. Take a look at the MACDs. The MACDs were also flashing a buy signal. Breakout there, very close to breaking out, so let's call it a breakout there to multi-year levels here. Fast move above 0 on the main MACD, also making a 3-year high. Very important. So let's see what happens after that. Check this out. The stock would move 233% in 3 months. From here to here, 3 months. That's all it took. This is the power of what I'm talking about. This is the power. Okay, take a look at how the MACDs were breaking out to all-time highs, and the RSI at all-time highs, MACD were making 3-year highs. So that was enough to move a stock 200+%. Now, any of us would take that any day. But if you want to own such a move, you have to make sure the requirements that I talked about are met. Boom. Let's take a look at another one. BOOM. This is, let me see when this was. 2004. Here's a stock that was breaking out of a range. After years of trading within a certain range, was breaking out there. So from trying to move above $2 here, let's take a look at what the RSI was doing. You'll notice that the RSI was not disappointing, meeting our minimum requirement here, 3-year highs there. Wow. Very strong move. Now, most people would be scared to own a stock. Now, notice at the time the stock was up 100% for the month of November 2004. In fact, the first 14 days of November, the stock was up 100% after this breakout here. So most people would just ignore a stock like this, but really don't. Try and find your way into the stock. And I have a webinar where I talk how to chase extended stocks. So don't ignore something. Why would you ignore a powerful stock? This is a powerful stock. Moving 100% doesn't mean that it's gonna necessarily sell off. There could be more in the stock. And also, let me just point something out here, a little bit off what we are talking about here. But whenever you see a stock doing something like this, look back down the road and you'll notice that this stock had previously moved from about breaking out here in 96 from about $1.50, and it went all the way to $9.50. So this is a stock that can move. So always look back at the history of the stock and figure out what does it do when it's on rally mode. And so the fact that the stock was breaking out here, yes, it looks scary, right? I understand that. Who wants to own something that's up 100%? But at the same time, just spend a second or so looking at the monthly chart, especially the all data monthly chart, and you would have seen that this stock has potential to move and move over multiple years and months. Okay, so this was to me indication, don't ignore this stock. In fact, just for the sake of clarification, let's go back to this 1996 period, because I want to show you that what I'm talking about here has been powerful over the last 30 years as far as my research was concerned. Breaking out to all-time highs here in early 1996, late 2000, late 1995, 1995 breakout. Let me show you another way. That line shows where the RSI moved to all-time highs, so which is, let's call it about beginning of 1996. Stock breaks out above this range here, above $1.50, and would go to trade as high as $9.50 over the next 13 months. That's a major move. That's a major move, okay? And let's go back and take a look at 1995-96 period. You'll see that the MACDs were making an all-time high there, and so are the MACDs making another all-time high there. So at least one of them was giving us a definite all-time high, and the other one was making also another all-time high. So the principles worked in the 90s, as you can see. But this example was trying to look at the 2004 breakout. So we see here that the RSI on the monthly was breaking out to rare. Again, if you want to own an explosive stock, you need RSI breakout to 3-year highs minimum, and then you also need one of the MACDs to make a 3-year high, like it was right there. 3-year high on the MACD, and also you can see that there was a push above 3-year highs there on this MACD setting. Haha, very powerful. So let's take a look at what happened. So this stock would go on after breaking out in 2004, would break out from about that $2 area. Remember, the stock had gained 100% here. The stock would go on to gain even more, trading as high as $42. This is what I'm talking about. Don't ignore a stock just because it's up 100%. You would have missed out, and I'm sure most did. Another breakout here above 750. So what happens is the stock settled at 750 there. That area I am showing with the blue there would settle down for 2 months below that price, and then on the 4th month broke out above that range. That's your buy point area, and there was another entry point there. It closed at about 1750, settled down for 1 month, and the next month it broke out above that level, and this level support held. The thing is, this was an entry point here, and bam. Okay, so since we're looking at the RSI, and if you ever want to own a stock that is up 2000%, what I'm teaching you here is just powerful. Take note of what the RSI was doing again. 3-year highs. We've already looked at the MACDs. 3-year highs, 3-year highs. Bam! How about another example? Why not? Take a look at this one. Travel Zoo. Okay, so here's a stock. This is 2004 again, breaking out of a range above this after trading in this range for a couple of months, many months, almost close to a year. And then finally something took it out of that range and broke out above $10. And as of this month in 2004, the stock was up 47%. Okay, let's take a look at what the RSI was doing. RSI was already breaking out here, already breaking out to 3-year highs. Very nice. And then also notice that the MACD, we only had one MACD at the time, already at all-time highs. So minimum requirements were met by this stock. Let's take a look at what happens after that. This is a monthly chart. Okay, so hold on a second. Maybe I'm confused. Oh, this is a weekly chart. This is a weekly chart for the same stock. Sorry. The previous chart was a monthly. Now we'll look at a weekly chart. And let's take a look at what the RSI was doing on the weekly chart. Notice the RSI was moving above 69.10 on the weekly. And take a look at your MACDs on the weekly, breaking out there to all-time highs. Even on the weekly, things were looking very powerful. Now let's take a look at what happens. So on the monthly, take a look. Stock would break out. So the breakout I showed you was this breakout here. The stock would settle here for 1 month after closing there, right there. It would close down for 1 month, and then on the following month this was a buy point right there, and re-enter the stock after it has rested for 1 month. So the stock moves, has a monthly closing high, and then has at least 1 month closing low. And then you want to be very interested in the stock next time it breaks out above the monthly closing high, which would be the next breakout, and that would push the stock. After 1 month of close down, stock would break out. That would be your entry point there, which is this level here at about 750, somewhere around, actually let's call it about $23, $27 or take. And that was enough to move the stock from $27 all the way, believe it or not, in about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, the stock would move from $27 all the way to 110. 27 to 110 in 5 months. Let's take a look at what the MACDs were doing. Take a look at this. It's very important we understand why the stock, if somebody was to tell you why is the stock moving, notice a move above 69.10 there, right there, and also the breakout above 27 pushed the stock to all-time highs on the monthly RSI. All-time highs on the RSI there, all-time highs right there. The black line, this line here is move to all-time highs, breakout. The MACDs were also breaking out to all-time highs there and there. That's why the stock moved from 27 all the way to 110. And don't forget the previous breakout was here, the one we talked about. That was the initial breakout, just about $10. So from 10 to 110, that's 1,000% in your face, kinda, but you get the point. Same principles. I'm just repeating myself, but that's the point here, is to show you as many charts as possible doing the same thing so that you never ever doubt ever what moves stocks. So here's another stock, had done nothing, 2004 time period, breaking out above about $2.70. Let's take a look at the RSI. Take note of what the RSI was doing. Stock was breaking out all-time highs right there. So that green area, the green box, is a move to all-time highs plus a move above 69.10. Okay, so a move above 69.10 plus a move to all-time highs on the monthly RSI right there. Let's take a look at whether the MACDs were confirming this. Yes, one of the MACDs right there was just breaking out to all-time highs. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens after that. See what we get here. So after breaking out above about $2.70, which is this breakout here, the stock would move from $2.70 all the way to $30 in under 1 year. That's powerful. Not too shabby, huh? Yeah, I don't think so. Not too shabby. Okay, so monthly charts, very powerful. All right, so let me take a break here. I'm gonna come back with more examples in the next installment of examples. But remember, RSI, MACD, 2 indicators. That's it. I am out. For now, I shall be back. Mwah.